Hello, welcome again to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the build-up phase in the organized attacking phase or moment, okay, however you want to call it, okay. So this is something that, especially in Spanish football, is very important, okay. Basically, in Spanish football, we try to organize through the ball, okay, with in possession of the ball or losing the ball. So we're always taking into consideration whatever phase or moment we are at, there's always organization through or with or without the ball. Okay, and as we mentioned earlier, when we talk about planning and initiating and developing an idea, we will do it according to what we consider most important. How our team will begin to organize in the organized attacking phase or moment, it is going to be determined by our playing model that, as we mentioned before, it holds many aspects, okay? The characteristics of the footballers or the players, playing idea of the coach, the age level, okay, of course, the budget of the team, the culture of the club, the fans. All these factors are gonna melt, or you're gonna combine them to create the playing model. Okay, and the playing model is how our team is going to play directly in the matches. Okay, what is very obvious is that whatever we're going to do, we must train creating tasks or exercises where our team trains these situations in a real fashion or the most similar to a real one as possible. Okay, so obviously our main objective is going to be of creating context where this can be done the best way possible. Okay, so we're always going to be creating context through tasks according to the subdynamic of the week. Okay, whether it's our recuperation sessions or the acquisition sessions, okay? And we're going to be always creating a context where in most of the sessions we're going to be working small information, micro principles, and on the days of the macro principles, okay, we're going to be working the build-up phases, for example, or big things of our playing model, okay, big principles of our playing model, okay. So normally on the macro principle sessions, or the sessions of duration of the muscle contraction, we're going to be working these things, okay, which are very important to our playing model, okay. Now, we have different ways or different tools of building up, okay. In Spanish, this aspect is very rich. The first one that I talk about here, or I mention here, is the build up with three. Okay, this was made famous by Pep Guardiola, of course, in Barcelona, with the holding midfielder, or the defensive midfielder, Busquets. He would move into between the two central defenders and create a back line of three players, and there they would create numerical superiority against two forwards. Okay, now this is called in Spanish salida la volpiana, and salida la volpiana it's named after Ricardo Lavolpe, which is an Argentinian football coach that has coached he coached in Boca Juniors in Argentina, but he also has coached and was made famous basically in Mexico, coached the Mexican national team. And when Guardiola played in Mexico, he saw that La Volpe's teams would do this constantly. Okay, so he took the idea from there. Okay, and basically is this: it's just creating numerical superiority either with a central holding midfielder, or it can be an offensive midfielder, or it can be also a fullback. Okay. We have also the direct or long build-up, okay, where we're going to train if we're going to use this a lot, or we may have to use it sometimes. Or the build-up to attract and let it play directly, okay. This is another strategy that we can use, okay, through the wide flanks, or through the flanks of the side flanks of the pitch, okay, which is going to be less risky for our team. If we lose the ball, we're going to be farther away from our own goal, and it's going to give us more time to organize defensively, or through the middle, okay, which is going to be riskier, okay, playing through the middle. But of course, if we're able to do it effectively, it will give us a big advantage as far as gaining strategic space applied to the opposing team. Okay, And as according to big data, for example, the five big leagues in Europe and the Champions League, the most successful teams in the strong leagues normally build up through the middle. Okay, but of course you have to take into consideration other information regarding what type of players they have, and so normally these teams have very excellent players. Huh? Now, build up with three, the most commonly used, as I mentioned before, with Busquets, the holding midfielder, moving inside in between the two central defenders. Okay, this was done because most teams used to press with a 4-4-2, 1-4-4-2 with two forwards, so they would create numerical superiority 3 versus 2. Okay, this was the main idea. Okay, so this was, you can do this with a holding midfielder or defensive midfielder. You can do it with an offensive midfielder, or you can use it with a fullback. Okay, you can use many tools that you have, and the main idea is to create havoc, to create surprise, to surprise the opponent, and be able to create space and generate space and take advantage of it. Okay. The next one, one factor that's very important that I see a lot of mistakes on this is the passive zone and the active zone. Now, the passive zone is normally behind, it's an imaginary line behind the ball or behind the offensive defenders of the opposing team or the forwards of the opposing team. I just placed them on numbers so you can count them easily. They're not, the numbers are not related to the positions, okay? And basically showing that, for example, we have one more player behind this imaginary line. In the active zone, we're going to be playing maybe 6v10, and if we have 4 players behind this imaginary line showing the passive zone, if we have 4 or 5 players, we're going to be playing in the active zone maybe 4v10 or 5v10 or even 6v10, and it's going to be very difficult for our team to maintain the ball, to keep the ball and not lose it, or to progress and to move to the second third and to the third. So the main idea is trying to progress with as at least, of course, the great idea will be to have numerical equality. But if we have maybe one less player or even 2, it can be easier. If we have less than 3 players in the active zone, of course, it's going to be quite difficult. And if we have 4 or 5, it's going to be almost impossible, because teams are going to be players are going to be doubled very easily, okay, or tripled sometimes, okay, in some cases. So we have to try to get to the active zone with maybe 1 less player, or at least at the most 2, but not more than that, okay? Now, direct play or long play, of course, is going to depend on the strategy and the playing model that you're going to have, okay? Some teams choose to have the players open and try to isolate them and play long, so they have 1v1 situations without cover. Other teams prefer to concentrate the space and have them really close to each other and try to gain the second or third ball and play from there. That will depend on the strategy that you're going to develop on your team, okay? And so, but if you're going to play, or if you have to play directly, you're going to have to train it, okay? So in some matches of big macro principles, you're going to have to, every time the ball goes up, or goes out, maybe the goalkeeper playing directly, okay? And training this, of course, as I said before, okay? This is another strategy, another way to build up is attracting short to play long, okay? And this is a strategy that you can develop so that the midfielders, especially, which are going to hold the attackers, instead of moving forward to press, okay, once they move forward, you try to play long, because you know that if they move forward, your forwards are going to be 1v1, okay? So try to create these situations. Of course, you're going to have to talk or let your attackers know that they have to try to finish the plays or hold on to the ball so that the team progresses, because if they lose the ball immediately, your team will not be able to press, and your team will start getting long, okay? They will start playing in a lot of meters, and this happens a lot in South American football especially, okay? So because they don't take into account that however you attack, it's going to condition the way you're going to defend, and however you defend it will condition the way you're going to attack. They don't see it systemically, okay? And this is very important, okay? But this is another strategy that you can develop, playing short passes until the forwards and the midfielders of the opposing team move forward, and then playing long, okay? Trying to create 1v1 situations with a lot of space and with no defensive cover, okay? Okay. Build up through the middle, create tasks or exercises where you're going to place goals or mark the space through the middle, and then you're going to create constraints to the defending team. For example, that the fullbacks and the wings have to defend outside the space, for example. I didn't do it here, okay, but you can do it. Or that they cannot press outside or steal the ball outside the space, or any type of constraints where you're going to make it easier for the attacking team, in this case the blue team, to progress through the middle and score in the small goals, okay? If the green team steals the ball, of course, they're going to transition quickly and finish very quickly through the middle in 4 or 5 passes, okay? Here they steal the ball and they go to transition. And at the same time, we're working defensive transition also, okay? Passing from attack to defense very quickly. Of course, as I said before, when we build up through the middle, it's going to be very difficult for our team to organize defensively. So if we're going to do this, we're going to have to train this a lot. Okay, very quickly, they have to organize very quickly and close up the middle, okay? Building up through the flanks, of course, we're going to create tasks or exercises in the macro principle sessions where we're going to try to build up through the flanks of the pitch. And of course, as I said before, this is less risky as far as when we lose the ball, okay? And normally, I think it's more commonly used, and most teams use this a lot, okay? So we're going to create task or exercises where your team has to attack through the flanks or through the sides, okay? I'm going to put it again because it just went away. Okay, so we're going to create tasks where our team can create numerical superiority, 3 versus 2, okay? And if they cannot find the goal easily, change immediately through the other side and create 3 versus 2 again. Okay, so it's always, these type of tasks or exercises where we're going to try to create context and we want to try for our team to do what we pretend, okay, to train in real context of matches. Of course, as I always say, the volume is very short, the intensity is normal to what a real match would be, okay, and every time there is the ball goes out, there's a cut in the game, the game stops, we repeat from the same situation, okay? So we get a lot of reps on that, what we want to see, okay? Because remember that with systematic repetition, we need a lot of reps, okay? In real situations, a lot of reps so that the players will be able to learn what you're trying to do, to teach, okay? Okay, so this is basically very briefly, we talked about the build-up in the offense organization or organized attack. You have many more varieties of ways of building up from the back. I just talked about the most common used ones, and hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions, you have my email there here in the first slide. Okay, don't hesitate to contact me, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.